Hello, everyone. Welcome to another review of The Bad Batch. Today, we're taking a look at Season 2, Episode 14, Tipping Point, the penultimate episode leading up to our two-part season finale next week. So, as I kind of predicted as from last week, part of this episode does deal with the Bad Batch having to, at least a little bit, be confronted with the idea of, okay, so do we stay here on this very nice, tranquil island, or do we go after Crosshair? But that was much less of the episode than I was expecting. The rest of this episode, actually, in a lot of ways, kind of surprisingly felt like a season premiere rather than ramping up to a season finale, which I thought was a little odd's not the right word. I thought, but it was definitely a unique feel for an episode this late into a season. That's not typically what you get because like all the antics of Tech teaching Omega how to fly and the Batch, very much being in their element now that they've kind of been accepted onto this little island society and everything. They're a part of the community and all this stuff. All of that. The just here's these characters just enjoying themselves and having fun. Typically, that's something we see at like the beginning of seasons whenever there's been a decent time skip. It's like, hey, here's what they're doing now, and not in between episodes. So clearly, some time has passed in between the last episode and this one, which I find interesting because because we got to the part with the actual Bad Batch in this episode. I'm like, this feels like a season premiere. What's going on here? Again, it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's very different for an episode this late in the season to feel like that. At least in my experience. So yeah, but no, it's cool to see the Batch, have really being able to kick up their feet and everything continued from last week. Wrecker going fishing and and playing chase with the girls. It's like chasing them around the tree and just having fun. And then they were in their little sleep pile there and everything. That was really cute. Overall, just really cool seeing them not have to be soldiers and just helping out and enjoying themselves. Of course, that doesn't last because the rest of the episode does feature more different clones that some we've seen before, some we haven't. So we see the return of Captain Hauser from season 1 of the Bad Batch. Of course, he and his men were on Ryloth and ended up standing up against the Empire. So it was cool to see him back because he quickly became a fan favorite. And then of course just Echo and his squad of rogue clones. You've got Gregor in there, but then you've got I think two others that never seen them before. One of their names was Fireball. I think his name was, and then there was this other guy. I don't think we caught his name, but he was 41st Elite. I'm pretty sure with the green markings on him and everything, and he's very not happy with that. And people's like, "Oh, we're just gonna have to get the intel out of you." But of course, he's got the shocky shock tooth thing, which is unfortunate. But yeah, no, it was really cool to see Echo and these other clones, rebelling against the Empire. It's like this is something that I've kind of always wanted to see. It's like, what would it look like if clone troopers said, "Nah, we're done with this," and grew fed up with the Empire and like actively kind of rebelled in these, and because it's like that. I mean, that is something I think it's the Empire you don't want. Is a bunch of clones left over from the Grand Army of the Republic rebelling against you because they're trained, they're coordinated, they would be able to go to ground and, kick up a big enough stink that, they might be a bit of trouble. So it's like, you see what just these four or five clones did against a decently armed transport filled with stormtroopers and a clone commando. We're assuming that was a clone commando underneath that armor. That could have just been, a regular grunt, since we never heard him speak. So yeah, it could have just been a stormtrooper in clone commando gear. But I mean, when the hatch opened and the grenade popped out, the Gregor just like, I'm just gonna throw this, and the stormtroopers are so stupid. And then it's like totally left their flank exposed to allow Echo and Fireball to come and zap everyone with the stun blasts. Being very much more nicer than I would expect. It's like, just They're stormtroopers. Just go ahead and put that on kill. It's like, doesn't matter. Um, so yeah, really, really cool sequence there at the beginning of the episode. And then, seeing a little bit more of the network and how it operates. Senator Chuchi popping back up, really, really cool. We're getting so close to the end of the line here. I'm hoping this means that it doesn't seem like the story's done. It feels like that, at least, with this, is that there's still a lot more. It's like there's no way that this series is wrapping up in 2 more episodes. I feel like that there's a 3rd season probably going to be on the way. They haven't announced anything as of yet. They're probably going to wait to say something, because I don't think they said anything about a 2nd season of The Bad Batch until the first one was over. So that sounds about right. So, and if we don't get a 3rd season of The Bad Batch, I'm sure that, like whatever show we get next would be like a continuation of The Bad Batch. If we get 2 seasons of The Bad Batch, and then we'll get season 1 of the Clone Rebellion or something like that. I don't know. Next, which is, still more Clone Wars, more Bad Batch, whatever. Same characters, just different name of the show. Rebels prequel show, insert title here or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like that we're probably, unless some radical stuff happens in the next episode, it does feel like that, because we still haven't touched on Sid again. So I don't know if she's going to even play a part in the next 2 episodes. I don't really see how she could fit into the next 2 episodes. So it's weird that she's just kind of dropped off, and that seems like a plot thread that definitely, you're a little busy right now. Do we really have time to explore Sid and all that? So I don't know. Maybe she's gonna swoop in at the last second for a big rescue. And it's like, I've been trying to call you guys because I've been trying to save your hide. I'm one of the good guys, I promise. But yeah, it is weird how we're this close, and it seems like that plot point's almost. I mean, she got a mention this episode. Echo's like, it's like, oh, I expect you guys to be back with Sid, and it's like, we're reevaluating that relationship still. So I don't know if that's all going to come to a head next episode or what. It just seems like there's not a whole lot of time left for that. So I'll be curious to see what they do with that. And then of course the other third of the episode had Crosshair trying to not even escape Mount Tantus. He was actually just trying to get a message to the Batch to warn them because the cloners want Omega. So I think that shows a lot for Crosshair's character, and the fact that no, he's not this big jerk as he kind of. It's like he's always been misunderstood from the moment he kind of went rogue, quote unquote, and sided with the Empire against the Bad Batch. He's always just kind of been more misunderstood, and he's always. And I think we saw that in the season 1 finale, where he wanted to be loyal to them, but they weren't necessarily loyal to him. But even now, he's still, and him trying to bring them in and everything, it's like, hey, I never wanted to break up the band here, guys. You're the ones that left. So now he's still even now still kind of loyal to them. And not, well, and this is something I hadn't even considered until just now, is that for a long while at the early bit of the season, it was presumed that the Bad Batch was dead, and Crosshair was the only survivor to get off Kamino. So, and then it wasn't until they raided Sereno that Rampart started thinking otherwise. And, and then now that they need Omega, maybe now there's this feeling that, they are still out there somewhere, and those reports were not correct. So it's like, well, who would have given them the idea that the Bad Batch was dead? Crosshair. He was the only survivor. They find him there. He's the only survivor. And it's like, well, what happened to Clone Force 99? He tells them, it's like, oh, well, they're dead. I'm the only one here, aren't I? So even then, he's still being loyal to the squad, even after he chased them down and everything. So I think, him trying to send them a warning message instead of just trying to escape the facility, I think is a big testament to his character. And we have spent kind of a long time going, oh, you jerk. Some of us anyway. to be fair, he's been he was a little mean at times, but he's definitely come around now, and trying to warn the Bad Batch and not trying to really even escape himself, I think was big of him. And I will say this Dr. Hemlock guy, really that was a really, really cool scene of flooding the room with toxins, and then him just walking in, and he takes a great big old whiff of it, and he's not phased in the slightest, and he says that it's my own personal concoction. I've built up a tolerance to it. That was actually really cool and really intimidating, really scary. I think that was a really smart choice, because I expected him to like walk in with a rebreather or whatever. I just figured it'd be Dioxis or some other toxin that has shown up in Star Wars before. So to him just walk in and go, I love the smell of chemical engineering in the morning. I think that was a really cool creative move, because I haven't seen that before. So that was really unique for his character. I will say I'm not on board with him being so soft spoken. I don't know if it's the actor or the audio equipment or what, but sometimes I have trouble hearing what he has to say, and I usually don't have that issue when I watch things. Like, even if a character is soft spoken, Thrawn is a good example of that. Thrawn in Rebels is pretty soft spoken, but he, you can still understand what he's saying. This guy is kind of whispering everything just enough to where you're not really even sure what he's saying. And it's like, could you speak up just a little bit, please, sir? I know you're intimidating, sure, but it's like, if you could speak up just a little bit. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with him. And with only 2 episodes left, it seems like there's way more story involving this guy and the cloners and all this, that they're not just gonna wrap up in 2 episodes. So yeah, I really think that's all I have to say about this episode. Considering there's 2 left in the season, both dropping next week. This was definitely a primer for those getting things set up and everything, and now we're gonna head into the season finale. So eager to see how things wrap up here, and I do hope a 3rd season is around the corner, because even with episodes I've had complaints about, like Tribe or Retrieval. Overall, when this show is good, boy, is it really, really good. And it's been a little more up and down this season, I think, compared to where last season was pretty much, I think, solid all the way through. But like with Faster, no, not Faster, excuse me, because I'm reading off the list here. Faster, I thought was a good episode. But with Tribe being, it's like, that was really rushed, and then Retrieval just being plain boring. Yeah, it's just been a little more up and down, but boy, the ups have been really, really up, with stuff like The Solitary Clone and The Clone Conspiracy, Truth and Consequences, Metamorphosis, The Outpost, even The Crossing. I really liked I really liked that episode, even though it wasn't the most quote unquote exciting. So yeah, I do really like these characters. I do really like the show a lot. So I hopefully the next 2 episodes don't end with everyone dying. And that's the end of the series, and like Omega's left on her own or something. Hopefully, it does end with all of them riding off to the sunset, and promising more adventures for a season 3 or something. So I guess we'll find out pretty soon. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below. I'll see you guys next time for the season finale. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.